Hello, Alchemists. If you've already chosen your card, check the timestamps below. What new opportunity is revealing itself now? Doorway number 1, eternal. Doorway number 2, hope. Doorway number 3, friend. Choose your doorway, Alchemist, and let's begin the great work. Hello, Alchemists, and welcome to your initiation through doorway number 1. What new opportunity is revealing itself to you now? You chose eternal. You are an eternal spark of divinity, spanning dimensions and lifetimes. Take peace in remembering that the light of source energy resides within you, offering a direct connection to infinite wisdom and unconditional love. And I just draw these cards randomly every time, by the way. I don't cherry pick which cards come out. So this opportunity, it sounds like, honestly, it sounds a lot like, obviously, getting deeply in touch with your spirit, but more like you're going to be getting the opportunity to truly recognize your divine nature, to truly start understanding more deeply non-duality. And even, I feel like, depending on what the other cards say, there could be the potential to being called to healing work with others, like spiritual healing work. If, you know, a lot of you that are called to the specific pile probably already know that you're some manner of healer. Dark Side of the Moon mystery. Makes me think of the Pink Floyd album. One of the best. That's the thing. A lot of us in our spiritual life, we spend a lot of time studying. We spend a lot of time trying to understand the mystery. We're never going to understand the mystery in this form, right? All we can do is get glimpses of it. So in Kabbalah, they talk about Ein Sof, which is the all. So it might be called like Tao in other religions, or maybe kind of equivalent to Brahma or something. And so basically but they say in Kabbalah, like basically that if you could understand all that a human being is capable of understanding, like ever capable of understanding, it would still be like one drop in 1,000 oceans of what Ein Sof really is and means. So therefore, with that, part of the reason that we come here is to be God playing life. Because Alan Watts talks about this. You can't be omniscient without having finite experiences. If you are an infinite being, then finiteness, the experience of being finite, would be included in your experience of infiniteness. If you did not have that, you would not be truly omniscient or infinite, correct? Okay. So with that being said, the point is that you came here, you erased your memory on purpose, or your memory was erased on purpose, because you were supposed to be able to enjoy and learn and embrace the beauty of form, the beauty, the feelings of being alive. Never before has the universe seen things through your eyes. You're giving it the biggest gift. So in those hard moments, remember that you are that eternal being. Source energy does not just reside within you, like it says. You are that source energy. You don't call a wave separate from the ocean, right? Look at that. You are the cosmos. I love this as well because your opportunity is to just be. Just be. And when you get to this state, you're going to feel so wonderful, because it's not about, you are in this state already, but the entire thing is stripping away the stuff, the stuff that steals the wonder and the mystery from life, that tries to calculate wonder into a mathematical problem, because this looks like an abacus, right? And just feel it from your source, from your core. Protection everywhere. Look at that. Wow. This looks like, I think they were called like thistles when I was a kid. And look, she's like growing into it. I love this. Protection everywhere. You know, when you start understanding yourself as the creator, as experiencing something beautiful, as experiencing something unique, and you stop putting the stories onto it the way that you've always been taught. Everything needs to be labeled. Everything needs to have a story or you'll be punished. Everything this, everything that. When you're able to kind of take a step back and just enjoy the mystery, you stop worrying about trying to over control, trying to overprotect yourself, because you can trust, right? You start trusting yourself. You start trusting yourself because you realize that you are everything. And that the experience that you're having is everything having your experience. 8 of Wands. The Wheel of Life. The 9 of Cups. 2 of Wands. And the Page of Swords. Okay. So, alchemists, your opportunity, we have laid out what it is. You are the work that you've been doing over the years, the shadow work, the inner work. You getting this as your shadow work card is beautiful, because basically it's saying time to put away the calculations, time to put away the fear that you have to overprotect yourself. In the sense of, like, we all know that so many of our problems are about control, right? Even wanting to know what the big mystery is, the life, the universe, and everything. Even wanting to know the big mystery is a control thing, right? And it steps you away from flow, and it steps you away from awe, the awe of how beautiful everything is, the wonder of how beautiful everything is, because we lock ourselves away in these little balls of control in order to feel safe, in order to feel protected. Okay, so let's look at your tarot cards and get a little advice on how to step into this new opportunity. The wheel is already turning, and you're actually already moving forward in this. And here we have, so there's protection everywhere. She's underground and she's all prickly, right? But there are some butterflies up there. So there is like a little transmutation energy, a little bit of making something that is harsh into something beautiful. But that paired with this 9 of Cups energy, which is definitely a protective card, but it's not a defensive card, like maybe sometimes the 4 of Pentacles might be seen as. And life turns, life moves in cycles. And right now, you're being called to move back to the beginning, back into child mind, not eternal child being immature, but the childlike beauty and awe. This opportunity is going to bring you such joy, but it's also going to bring you such a level of connection to the eternal that, like I was saying earlier, you are going to have the opportunity to start guiding and helping and healing other people. Cutting through, you know, when I was saying like be childlike, but don't be childish, that's this Page of Swords energy. You need to use your discernment so that, because a childlike person who's having fun is wonderful and can help heal so many people without even teaching a thing. All they have to do is live. But a childish person wants a lot of attention. They'll throw fits if they're not getting the attention they want. All these different things. So that's why you should use your discernment. And this 8 of Wands is really interesting to me in juxtaposition to this one especially. Because this one is about sort of like defending yourself. And this is about pouring your heart out. And with this spiral energy, lots and lots of spiral here, like the Fibonacci sequence or the golden ratio. The idea is that when you're able to transmute kind of being on the defense and step into your true power, into the awe, into the mystery, then you can pour your heart out in a way that doesn't feel draining, that feels empowering. Now, how can you move towards this energy? Think about what you loved as a kid. So like for me, the space thing reminded me of it. I used to love to go outside and look at the moon. When I looked at the moon, it filled me with such awe. And so because I just did this reading, then I think there's a full moon coming up to, pretty soon when I'm filming this. So I'm going to go outside and look at the moon. And I'm not just going to look at it and be like, I looked at the moon. I'm going to look at it and I'm going to recapture the feeling that I had when I looked at it as a kid. So I invite you to think of something that just filled you with absolute awe and amazement when you were a kid, and recreate that activity or go look at that thing and give yourself a moment to just get giggly about it. All right, this is a beautiful opportunity. I'm sure I'm going to be hearing lots of stories from you guys over the next few years about how your healing journey as a healer. And like I said, it doesn't mean you become a formal healer or whatever, but I mean your presence becomes the medicine. All right, beloveds, let's go ahead and pull one of these badass affirmations. I've been enjoying these lately. Well, I guess you get two. I'm not just a queen. I'm a reigning bad bitch. Some women fear the fire. Some women simply become it. You already are it, right? You are already the queen. You are already the goddess, or, whatever you identify as gender-wise, but you know what I mean. Some people fear the fire. Some people simply become the fire. You are already the fire. You're just trying to take away the blockages. All right. I'll see you next time. Comment below how your healing journey is going. I'm sure everybody would love to hear it. I'll see you next time. Hello, Alchemist, and welcome to your initiation through doorway number 2. What new opportunity is revealing itself now? You got hope. You chose hope. Look at this. What a beautiful bird. We have a rainbow. No matter how heavy the moment feels, trust that this too shall pass. Your angels surround you with love and assurance, reminding you that change is truly possible. I saw this meme or something that says oh, people think hope is this delicate thing. But you know what? Hope is brutal. Hope is tough. Hope is, you getting up over and over and over again, even when it seems like there's no reason to. So with this, I get the feeling of how strong you really are. And your new opportunity that is coming your way has to do with all that strength that you've carried becoming something that doesn't feel like a burden, but rather is being transmuted. Because I don't think that's a phoenix, but it definitely has a phoenix energy to it. It kind of reminds me of the hoopoo from Conference of Birds, which was the bird that reminded the rest of the birds that they had a god called the Seamerg. And then when the birds went to see the Seamerg, it turned out that they were the god that they were looking for. And so I think the idea is that when you transmute hope into empowerment, so that it's not just some kind of external idea that feels delicate, but it becomes a state of mind. That is your opportunity that is coming. The moon's wisdom, take the lead. Yes, don't see hope as something passive. See it as a doorway to your own empowerment. Because people talk a lot about this in manifestation communities and things like that, about obviously getting your vibration right, but also you have to give yourself the opportunities. Now, getting your vibration right, getting your frequency right, that's like retraining your subconscious, putting yourself in situations that expose yourself to the things that you want. Now, as a person who is basically a recluse, I call myself a hermitess. I love just being here on my farm. I love reading cards for you guys and talking to you guys online and doing readings for everybody. and then spending time with friends and family. But I am not a social butterfly. So don't think that this necessarily means like, oh, I've got to go out and do a bunch of stuff. It just means start living your life the way you want to live it now. And with that comes endless opportunities. Embrace the mystery. So doorway number 1 was all about embracing the mysteries of life, embracing the mysteries of the universe, and understanding yourself better. So if that resonates with you, I feel like these two are definitely connected. With this, I get the feeling of the mystery being the thing that's scary, right? So hope leaves you in that passive state where you're still not responsible for the outcome. Taking the lead puts you in a space where you don't know what's going to happen, and you're going to feel responsible for whatever does happen because you have taken the lead. So if it fails, it's going to feel like huge to you. And that's why a lot of times we get caught up in this hope cycle rather than action. And like I said, action is not always physical action. Action is often, for me, a lot of times it's like, oh, my thoughts have been looping for 35 minutes. A great action there is to do something else rather than get stuck in my thought loops, right? Let's take a look at your shadow. Look at that, the shadow card. Yeah, there's a lot going on in the background here. And always be gentle with yourself, because I know a lot of times when we're doing deep shadow work, tarot and oracle, it can feel accusatory. I will tell you, sometimes people really lash out at me, and I don't ever take it personally because I know that shadow work is delicate, and I try to be delicate. But if something is agitating, most people that I meet and talk to and work with, when I tell them these things, they're so kind and they're so gentle and they want to work on it. But some people see it and it makes them so angry. And that's okay. It just means they weren't ready to quite integrate that yet. So I always just say, if it agitates you, if it angers you, if you feel like someone's accusing you, it's okay to take a step back and come back later when you're ready. It just means you might not be quite ready for that lesson yet, right? It's a really hard, shadow work is not easy. And like in this channel, I'm always nice, but I try not to. I feel like that you deserve to know what's really going on. I feel like those of you who are here want to know. And so I'm going to tell you what the cards say. I'm not going to fluff it up. I'm going to be nice, but okay. So your opportunity is to, through this shadow work, get out of the rut that you feel like you've been getting into, that you've been waiting for somebody else or some external situation. Yeah, look at that. To rise above it. King of Pentacles, 7 of Wands, Ace of Pentacles, 5 of Pentacles, and 2 of Wands. 2 of Wands also showed up in doorway number 1. Okay, so how can you transmute this energy into this beautiful opportunity? With this Ace of Pentacles, there is a lot about the real world, about rising above your own turmoil, your own thoughts. I feel like for a lot of you, the hopelessness probably is around very earth matters, not necessarily spiritual matters, but like maybe relationships, jobs, career, money, that kind of thing, especially with all these pentacles. And the 2 of Wands here is a reminder that looking ahead and planning is important, but you can get caught in this energy, in this rut of always looking forward and not living now. All you have is the eternal now. And the Ace of Pentacles is inviting you to take the opportunity. So what you do today is the foundation of what's going to happen to you in a few days. Okay, so this is a little crass, but I'm going to say it anyway. So someone wrote under a video that was about kind of like Neville Goddard stuff. And they said basically, oh, so it's like when you eat food, And so your energy basically that you have right now in this moment is not actually usually how you feel in this moment. It's how you felt a few days ago or a few weeks ago that you just now got to process, because we're always lagging behind in our processing, because we're so busy and we keep ourselves so busy. And like, it's kind of like eating, but if you get a stomach cramp from it, you're not getting a stomach cramp from what you ate that second. You're getting a stomach cramp from what you ate maybe 6 hours ago, 8 hours ago, even 24 hours ago, right? And so when you start thinking of your energy that way, yeah, obviously there are moments where something literally happens, and it gives you the emotion then. But a lot of times someone may say something to you. In that moment, it aggravates you, or it makes you sad or whatever. But what they said is fine. But you interpreted it through the lens of whatever feeling from a day or two ago. So when you start thinking of your feelings as like tides, rather than this happened, this feeling is related directly to it, then I think that makes a huge difference and opens up more opportunities for you to step into this sort of King of Pentacles energy. So I would challenge you to start asking yourself, when you get a surge of strong emotion or strong feeling, if you really want to embrace this transmutation from hope to action, when you get that strong sense of fear, instead of saying, I'm too scared to take action, be gentle with yourself, take it slow, but say, is this feeling about this specific action? Why am I so scared of it? A lot of times you can defang the snake just by facing it directly. You can say, why am I scared to do this thing? What in my past happened that caused me to think that this is really going to scare me, or because it can feel inside, it can feel like life or death. Some of these things I know that I've been in situations where I look back and I'm like, I really just crashed out over a man or something, thinking that losing him was life or death or something. But really, it was like, oh, okay, I'm just back to my life now. Why was I so freaked out about that? We build it up in our heads based on past subconscious programming and that kind of thing. And you are ready. This is about a new opportunity revealing itself now. You are ready. It wouldn't reveal itself if you weren't ready to take the lead and embrace the fact that you don't know. That's supposed to be the thing. If you know the end of a movie, it's not as good, right? The thing that makes the movie good is that you don't know how it ends. So embrace the mystery of knowing that you don't know, and that's kind of the fun. When I'm talking about my life, if I get kind of depressed and stuff, I'm always like, you know what? I just as well see how this goes, because it's kind of like a game or a movie or something. I just as well see how it ends. I'm already here, right? I'm going to be my authentic freaking self today. Yes, you are. That's what this is. This is uncovering all those layers and getting to the raw, real, excited you. I definitely recommend you check out doorway number 1 if you resonated with the Eternal card as well. All right, Alchemist, this is your message for today, and what an empowering one. And I'm so proud of you and the work that you're doing. And remember, I just always say, just tell me in the comments how this is transmuting in your life. But also, remember that every person who heals themselves even a little bit is healing the world. So do not downplay the work that you're doing here. All right, I'll see you next time. Hello, Alchemists, and welcome to your initiation through doorway number 3. What new opportunity is revealing itself now? You chose friend. You are not alone, whether in the spiritual realm or the physical realm. A true friend is entering or already present in your life, offering compassion and support. By the way, I do not cherry pick these cards. I just draw them at the beginning, and lay them all out for you guys. So, when we're saying what new opportunity is coming forward, friendship. Really feeling like you're connecting. Now, this could be with other people. Usually this card would mean that, and we'll see what the other oracles say and your tarot says. But, becoming more of a friend to yourself will always give you the opportunity to make more friends externally. Because the truth is when you try to mask and try to be the kind of person who gets friends. You might get some friends, but they're not going to last, right? Because you are making friends that maybe aren't, that you have to act to keep up with, right? And you deserve better than that. You should not have to act. You should just be accepted and loved for who you are. And if that means it takes longer to get to those more authentic friendships, then so be it. It's better to wait, right? Than to go through cycle after cycle of having friends and losing them because you compromised your authentic self in order to fit in. And as I always say, I know that sometimes these shadow work things are kind of hard to hear. So give yourself a nice pat on the back for doing the great work, as we call it in alchemy. It is the great work of transmutation. So the question I would ask before we start flipping the other card is, are you a friend to yourself? Are you a friend to yourself? Quicksilver moon changes. I think in a few months, you're going to be really surprised with all this transmutation work you're doing, the kind of people that you're going to start attracting into your life. The laughter, the joy. And sometimes that's like in an online community. Sometimes it's out in the real world. We all have different limitations. We all have different needs. We all have different social batteries, right? Walk with grace. You know, the most graceful thing that you can do is to walk in your own power. Walk in your own energy. It is the magnet. It is the magnet for the kind of people. So I was just thinking about this, like, it's almost like an algorithm, right? So like say out here on YouTube or something, if you have a channel and you put like, I don't know, Minecraft videos, and then you put cooking videos, and then you put travel videos, the algorithm has no idea what to do because you're trying to, let's say you keep changing the videos that you're doing in order to make the algorithm happy instead of being authentic to yourself. The algorithm never finds the right people for you. But let's say you're really into trains or something. Then you only do videos on trains. Then suddenly all the other people who love trains are going to come. The algorithm's not confused. It's going to send people who love trains to your videos, right? I have no idea why I said trains. I don't particularly like trains, but I mean, they're fine, but nothing against trains, but I don't know. Anyway, you know, trains have to do with movement. Trains have to do with growing. Trains have to do with connecting. So that's probably why. So, you know, don't confuse the universe's algorithm, you know, by trying to portray somebody that you're not. Because when you do, look at that, you wear a mask and you also end up attracting wolves. I will tell you the times when I ended up near the most toxic people in my life, where I was taken the most advantage of, where I was hurt the worst, was when I was trying to be what somebody else wanted me to be. And I was confused all the time. And I always say this, like, this is one of the rules that I give people. And it says, if somebody confuses you, ask for clarity once or twice. If you are still confused, you need to deeply consider removing yourself from that situation, at least temporarily, so you can clear your head. Because confusion is at best immaturity. But a lot of times, if someone is confusing you, it is flat out, whoops, just dropped something. It is flat out dangerous manipulation. And so if someone confuses you, it is at best immaturity, and you still don't want to be around immature people, right? And it is at worst manipulation. So you don't want that kind of person in your life either. 9 of Cups showed up in pile 1, so 10 of Cups. Look at this. There's just so much fun, so much energy. See, this is your shadow card. So take the mask off so you don't become a sheep at the dinner, right? Walk with grace in yourself and enjoy and embrace the changes that are coming towards you. 10 of Cups and 9 of Cups energy. Security, safety, home, friendship. Look at that. You know, with this mentor card, because this is different than in other decks, and the Ace of Swords, I think that my advice would be that if there's something you're really interested in, let's say you really like gardening or beekeeping or something like that, like find a group nearby. And I know it's easier said than done for some people who don't have a lot of social battery, but you're going to meet, I think, through a mentor or through someone else who knows about the thing that you want to know more about. And this can even be on an online community, because like I said, I know we all have different capabilities. Oh yeah, 5 of Cups. Yeah, you know, it feels like you've been isolated a lot in the past. And with this card, I feel like for some of you, you've been in relationships, whether that was a romantic relationship or a friendship, that ended up isolating you from other people. And there's probably some of you that have a fear of stepping back out and making more friends, that A, this will happen again, or B, you'll be rejected. Because these kinds of bad relationships, whether they're friendships or romantic or family or whatever, they leave such a deep impression that you are not worthy. Ouch. That you are not worthy of true friends, that you have to settle for crappy friends in order to fit in order to have anyone, or you'll just be alone. But that's not true. That's something that insecure people project onto empathetic people, onto kind people, because they're afraid of losing you. And they're going to try to make you feel as small as possible so that they don't lose you. Because an empathetic person is like these energy vampires, all these people, it is their bread and butter. Your giving nature allows them to stay in the eternal child state. It allows them to get everything they want and not have to give anything back. It allows them to be lazy in love, lazy in friendship. But that leaves you feeling like you're facing all these broken cups, but behind you are full cups. And look at all this. Cups, cups, cups. Your cup runneth over. So we have all these cups, except in the middle, we have these 2 cards that are saying, go find the community that clicks with you, even if you feel embarrassed by it or something like, oh, I'm a 40-year-old and I play so much Stardew Valley. True story, I do. I've played redacted number of hours of Stardew Valley. It's fun to go onto the Stardew Valley community and chat with people and read all the funny memes and everything. So no matter how obscure your niche is, you're more likely to find your people in your niche. So I know that it's kind of cliche and tropey to say, oh, go out and find the community that works for you. But when you have been in this kind of situation, you can forget that it's safe to go and try to make friends. And so I'll tell you, after my trauma bond relationship ended, that was so traumatic. And so, it was months and months of recovery, and I couldn't go out and do all this because, it was so brutal. And I started by going on to like spiritual communities online before I felt strong enough to go out and meet people. And I'm still, like I said, I say like I'm a hermitess. I don't go out that much. I have a really great, close group of friends. I believe in quality over quantity. And so, yeah, I'm not afraid to cut somebody out of my life if they scare me. I'm not afraid to cut somebody out of my life if they, don't listen, if they don't align. And now, will I ream myself about it days before and after? Yes. And that's okay. We're all human. It's natural for some of us to overthink. But that shouldn't stop you from pushing this out of your life so that you can invite this. And when this is gone, at first you're like, whoa, this is too quiet. What is happening? This doesn't feel right. Your brain chemicals are hooked on their drama. That's not your fault. But soon your peace will become the most valuable thing. It is the only currency of life, is peace and time. And when you get into this walking with grace thing, you are magnetic to everybody. So that means as you're transmuting this, you will be attracting this again when you're in this state, but it will not affect you. You will not cling to it. All right, let's take a look at your affirmation. Focus on the positive, you silly little bitch, because you're a bad bitch. Gender doesn't matter in the sense of like, you can be You can be a bad bitch no matter what. Okay, the point is that you are in charge of yourself. You are empowered. You are walking through this world authentically and without being apologetic for who you are. And when you focus on that and not on what's lacking, then you fill up your life with your own joy, and that attracts other people, right? And it attracts in you the urge to go out and find other people with similar interests, not just to have a person, but to have like-minded souls around you. All right, beloveds. Start a discussion below. We're all here together. I mean, you might make some friends right here, right? A lot of great changes are coming your way. And I'm so happy that you're here. Thank you. I know you could be on a million different other places. I know a lot of people do not handle shadow work well. And so just give yourself so much praise and so much grace for doing this great work, as we call it in alchemy. It is the great work, you know, alchemizing, taking down blockages inside, all of that. All right, so thank you so much for being here, and I will see you next time, alchemists.